Paying his driver for liability coverage. With this machine I'm blaming, his whole team live panic. Jack froze up and then died. Now you seen Titanic? Bow to the neck. I mute his audio. Your youngest son, bow to the chest. Reduce his cardio, then bow to take your princess from you. Super Mario.
Basically, I'm coming at him. He's strapped in, I smash in. Both his hands with a hammer. I ain't gonna use his strapped in.
Hello. Welcome back to the Speaking Our Language show. And yes, we took a long hiatus. A lot of stuff has went on. You know what I'm saying? Me and JSmo were been supposed to finish the last two categories, but we got the 4 out and they actually did really good on YouTube. So we're going to thank you guys very much for the views that you gave us in those videos. You know what I'm saying? But we're about to spin the block and finish these last 2 categories for the Gauntlet so we can actually put out a visual of each particular top dog of each category. But first and foremost, my boy JSmo, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. Like he said, you know, we took a long break, but we here. We had to finish. Complete the objective. We had to complete the objective. Bringing y'all the freestylers and then the all around, man. So very happy to be a part of this. You know, thank you guys for the numbers. You know, real battle rap dialogue. Us trying to get the details to see it appreciated like that. To y'all share that love with us. You know what I'm saying? It means a lot, man. So glad to be here. Yeah.
And we're about to start with the first honorable mention for freestylers. Yes, so we're going to start off with freestylers. The first honorable mention that we're going to do is none other than C3. In my opinion, she's easily one of the best, you know, freestylers in battle rap, and easily one of the best freestylers amongst the ladies. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like her freestyle ability is really good. I mean, she showcased it against Tay-Rock, against Vixen, against a multitude of other people. And it's not just like a quick, like, oh, I'm gonna start the top of the round and I'm gonna rebuttal one of your haymakers. No, it's like top of the round, end of the round, mid-round rebuttal. Like, she is really, really great at that. So we want to give her a shout out. Another person, this is gonna be controversial, but we have Danny Myers in the honorable mentions. The reason why we have Danny Myers in the honorable mentions, simple fact, for being quite honest, yeah, he's too cold. But alongside that, I know he's been great with the rebuttals this year, right? Last year. But if we're being quite honest, prior to 2020, the rebuttals are a little bit spotty. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, ever since, you know, him and Chef Trez crossed paths, he said, oh, I can rebuttal too, and he started doing it. It took him a minute for those shits to actually land. And while he may have the trajectory of maybe ranking on the higher portion of the list as years go on, I don't think he has enough body of work to rank amongst the top 5. So we have him as an honorable mention. Another honorable mention, this is like a forefather when it comes to you know, freestyling. We have Thesaurus, legend. Hell, he was participating in freestyle tournaments since the early 2000s and shit like that. So we have to give our kudos to Thesaurus. He's one of the best freestylers in the culture, and he kind of molded the modern day way of using freestyles as a tactic to win a battle. So we have to go with Thesaurus. Another OG, Big Cannon, has one of my favorite rebuttals of all time against Old Red with the Rip Hamilton. And not just, and first off, it wasn't even just that bar. He rebutted the whole Bull scheme that he did, you know what I'm saying, or Chicago scheme or whatever.
One of the biggest reactions in URL history.
Yes, and on top of that, participated in one of the first 4th round battles against Sharon, which we're going to segue into that. Sharon, yes, Sharon is also another honorable mention on the list. Very, very close into making that you know, that 5th spot. You know, legendary freestyler. Like, that's what people are scared of Sharon when it comes to freestyling back, is because he can hop into so many different backs when it comes to freestyling. I know a lot of people say that sometimes he's a little bit robotic when it comes to his flow, when it comes to like his transitions and stuff like that, but extremely effective as a freestyler. But yeah, those are honorable mentions, and now we're going to shift into the top 5. At number 5, I don't know what it is, man. I feel like we always are choosing like the revered legends and putting them at number 5. It's not on intentional, but at number 5, we have Hollow the Don at number 5. What is there to say about Hollow the Don? You know, he's one of the best in terms of intertwining like the writtens and freestyle together. Sometimes you don't even know it's freestyle. Like I can point to the Arsenal battle where, you know, Arsenal had that bar about like, you look like you only something to your kids in the weekend. And then like he does like a little like freestyle of that and it intertwines it with like some of his writtens and makes it seem like it was just all put together. Like that's crazy. He had one of my favorite freestyle or rebuttals in SM history. One of. When you know, Tay-Rock delivers that crazy second round, and then he comes back and says that, you know, something Tim McVeigh, when I lift the K, these hollows gonna give something back in a different way. Like his rebuttal game is crazy. Way before A-Ward's rebuttal game was kind of crazy. And on top of that, I feel like when it comes to freestyling or whatever, I feel like in the earlier portion of battle rap, like 09, 2010, he was literally beating individuals like round for round off of freestyling. Like him and A-Verb, I know a lot of people have him losing to A-Verb in like their 2-rounder, but he was freestyling a lot in that battle. And he may have, and some people actually may split one of the rounds between him and A-Verb. I didn't, because I thought A-Verb was wilding on him. But
neither did I, but definitely wasn't trash.
Right. And he held his own against like a top-notch A-Verb off of freestyling. Another example, Big T, the Big T battle, you know, Big T had a Street Fighter joint. He said, "You're right, I have been playing Street Fighter. I never chose Balrog." Or like he had like a wheelchair rebuttal. And it dismantled Big T in that 3rd round off of just like 2 or 3 rebuttals and stole the momentum. And I think that's what it comes down to. When it comes down to stealing momentum and knowing how to flip someone's best bar, I think Hollow set that trend early on before a lot of people did, especially in the modern day version of battle rap.
Yeah, we definitely agreed putting Hollow here at 5, and one of those first guys when it comes to rebuttals. And I think when it comes to that original guard and a lot of these things with the way we graded this list, you know, having Lux farther down in the pens, for those of you who haven't seen the pens video, right. You know, a little sneak to go look at that. But right. The fact is that they start out, and it is, you know, important to be a founder, but as the game evolves, you get the guys are allowed to take that tape and work on it, which is why it's over to build over time. So it's no slight to Hollow, but I think in the new era of rebuttaling too, rebuttals are more complex, the way that everything is more complex with approaches now. I don't think Hollow has kept that same top level rebuttaler with some of the new guys coming in, that same title, which is why we have him down here. But as you said, for me, the biggest thing is there's times that you don't know when it's a written or when it's freestyles with Hollow. I believe he writes very differently. He writes in interchangeable increments throughout the battle that he'll take his 3rd and put it in his 1st. And even though that isn't rebuttaling, the ability to do that just shows how far his memory can go, like what he's able to push it to, and you know, on the spot adjustments. And if that doesn't have to do with freestyling, you know what I'm saying, and adjusting, then I don't know what does. But then on top of that, like you said, referring to the Verb battle, I'm the God MC, I'm Jesus Pops, obviously was pretty much his one bar that gets talked about the most, and that was a rebuttal to A-Verb. So on and on, so many different ways that we could praise the guy, you know, one of the trendsetters in this. And then going back into things that are off camera, or as you said, back to 09, 010, in an era where he would just freestyle battles, which is, you know, unheard of now in our format. So, you know, I think Hollow has to make the list, and I think 5 is a great spot for him.
Yeah. And I don't want to really harp on, you know what I'm saying? I don't really want to harp on like some of the weaknesses, just because it's like, it's freestyling and like, it's a very, very like keen ability, and like not that many people have that ability. So I wouldn't dare to like really harp on some of the weaknesses. The only thing is like, similar to his style in general, I just think sometimes like there's a hit or miss factor.
Airballs.
Like, yeah, it like leaves a huge dry spot waiting to happen. That's the only thing. As opposed
to other rebuttalers who are hitting more consistently, like the Haymaker effective is hitting more consistently. There's quite a few, you know, if we broke down the tape, we could see some Hollow rebuttals where it's like, oh, that didn't work, versus DNA, a lot of that didn't work. So I completely agree. It comes down to landing rate, but when you get to these 5, I mean, it's kind of tough because the 10 names that we named between the honorable mentions are like 10 of the only people that do it at an elite level. So just to be here, you know what I'm saying? There's only so much that we can critique from it, but we have to separate it somehow when we rank it. So
yeah. But that's who we have at number 5, and at number 4, we have another legend, at number 4, we're gonna go with Charlie Clips. And some of you guys may feel like this is too low for him, but when it comes to Charlie Clips, man, I feel like, you know, he has stole plenty of rounds off of freestyling. Like I can point to like the B-Dot battle where like they both had this moment where they choked in that second round, and then B-Dot rebutted. You know what I'm saying? I think her name was Champagne in the background or whatever, and had like this whole, and that's the place where I ski. Like he had like a whole segment of freestyle in there.
Gave you a moment to walk away from. Even though the rounds are kind of broken, you walk away remembering what Clips was able to do on the spot and that haymaker he was able to build.
Lou Castro, you said something skirt off. I was lurking and irking. Jazz last time being a virgin. Like that's like out the gate. Like he just steals momentum with his freestyling ability and rebuttals and stuff like that. Hell has one of the biggest. I know I said Hollow had one of my favorites, but he had the biggest freestyle moment in history with the stretch march situation. Summer Madness 2. That was freestyle. Yeah, when it comes to Clips, man, he not only does he have the ability to freestyle, but he also has the ability to make a moment out of it, and his comedic timing with the freestyles too. There's a lot of people when they try to like do freestyles or whatever, it's kind of meant to be like just trying to flip someone's like, you know, best bar, but he tries to add like a little bit of a comedic value to it that kind of makes it even that much more interesting and that much more you know, like dope. But yeah, great in terms of like stealing momentum. You know, it has some of the biggest you know, battle rap moments as I mentioned or whatever. And I think that when it comes to freestyling, a lot of people go in that ring and try to freestyle with him just because they feel like they have to, just because they feel like you know, like if I don't at least do one or two of these, then maybe he's gonna watch me or whatever. And on top of that, we talk about Hollow and his freestyling ability. I also think that when Clips first came into the game, I feel like he also was one of those like rare like unicorns who like would freestyle mid-round or top of the round and just land haymakers back to back. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna kind of shift into the downside of it, like the Sharon battle, part of the B Magic battle, a lot of the Nitty battle, which the Nitty battle was but I say that to say that like while he has created a lot of moments, he's also created a lot of bad moments with like his freestyle segments, just stumbling, fumbling over his words and stuff like that. I would say that like, you know, when it lands, but I do think that like there are times where there's a lack of fluidity, right, in his freestyle. You can tell as a freestyle is coming or whatever.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of the points that you made. Obviously, Clips is a legend in this, and when it comes to peak freestyling, we've seen him create, you know, referring to Serious Jones stretch marks, but all throughout history, even in battles like versus Chilla Jones, we've just seen this. We've seen so many different moments from that. If somebody wants to say his ceiling is just so high that he would be at 1. It's kind of hard to debate. And really with this whole top 5, I think it's been our hardest list to order just because all of them freestyle at such an elite level. All of them can create setups out of nothing, just whole setups for the rebuttal. All of them can do mid-round, end around, on the spot, take a bystander, do something with it, and Clips especially. But, you know, like you said, referring to moments like, there's a lot of shit going on in the hood, and we don't know how to act. You know what I'm saying? Clips will be doing some shameless shit up there on that stage, man. That was a distraction, and it's like, what just happened? You'll have a whole 45-second segment or plus of Clips where it's very meandering with the freestyle.
He said, "Nah, I was saying you should have choked him."
Yeah, no, he's like, and I respect the lack of shame. You performer, you're saying leave it all out there. Right. But even then in that battle, to go and do the whole freestyle around the room. Right. It just goes to show the dips and peaks and valleys that you get with Clips. Overall, you know, one of the best, like we both said, if you wanted to have him up higher, you know, we'll give our reasons why we have 3 people ahead of him on this list, but one of the best there is to do it. And, you know, another one like Hollow that just had to make the list.
Yeah. But that's what we have at number 4. At number 3, we have a newcomer. We have a guy that hasn't even been brought up that much in the Rappers Pentagon, nor in terms of like when we think about like the you know, the people that set the foundation for freestyling being a major asset in battle rap. Chef Trez, Mr. Three of Them Things. What is there to say about Chef Trez? At one point in time, before there was a certain particular battler that came in, Chef Trez was deemed as the newest, the best freestyler of the game. Three of them things. Like, what is there to say? Like, he
revolutionized it for a small pocket of time. Chef Trez was the reason that you're seeing multi-rebuttals. I mean, it really was a one-time thing. It would be rare, kind of a special occasion if you'd see a guy come with 2 or 3 rebuttals.
People wasn't counting rebuttals until he came into the game. Like, people were like, oh, that was 1, that was 2.
Yeah, multi-rebuttals, I think, definitely shift in battle rap as a whole. When you're seeing Danny do 3 or 4 rebuttals, when you're seeing all these guys now that do that, the Nun-Nuns, Chef Trez is really the guy that made doing multi-rebuttals almost a regular if you're going to be a rebuttaler.
Yeah, and on top of that, it's kind of weird to use this in like a freestyle / rebuttaling aspect, but we talked about like being battle tested in terms of like the puncher's going against the best punchers or the writer's going against the best writers, such and such. He's went against pretty much all the marquee freestylers you could think of. He's went against them and either held his own or surpassed them. Like him and Sharon was probably one of the best RBE battles of all time. You know what I'm saying? Like him and Bangs.
The fourth round of it is
right.
Like, just insane.
Him and Bangs, him and DNA, Bullpen Classic, him and Ward, you know what I'm saying? Like him and a multitude of freestylers. He not only showed that like this is why I'm of the upper echelon, but this is why I kind of do. I'm kind of crazy with this. Like that 3 of them things was crazy. Like I feel like it started in late 2016, 2017. But I wasn't expecting to take a life of its own to where like the whole culture is starting to freestyle and like count their rebuttals and stuff like that. He had Ill Will, which Ill Will is known to freestyle hood and there, but like he had Ill Will going up against Chef Trez and spent like, a third of his round trying to freestyle with him. So like that just shows you the impact of it. Some of my favorite freestyle moments from Chef Trez. We talked about this off camera, but the whole this was Puerto Rican, this is Mexican, they're both similar, but when they start different. Him and DNA was an amazing, crazy battle between writtens and freestyle. Mike P, he said, y'all wasn't feeling that, but none of y'all popped them K's. I'm strapped in, just like Twerk. One more move and you gonna drop on the stage or something like that. That freestyle moment was crazy. He had 3 of them things against JC. He posted it recently, his freestyle moment on one of the DMV cards where like a fight broke out. He said, this is kind of what happens when I'm rapping, like, or the Suge battle. Like he had so many moments of
it's what he does. Usually of all of his greatest performances, there's at least one extremely elite rebuttal in there, damn near a moment that you could take out of it. And I think the only thing that's going to hold him from going higher, really, in terms of just pure rebuttaling, there is no real critique. I mean, like his
most consistent freestyler for sure. His
hit rate is extremely efficient. Mid-round, I mean, real definition of this top 3. I'm talking mid-round. He'll even, if someone doesn't like his first rebuttal, he's like, you're going, but I got something for you. On that. Yeah. So a lot of incredible stuff. I think the only thing that holds him out here is that I think a couple of these guys, one of them might have gotten him in a battle where freestyling was kind of exhibited, and then obviously there's just been a dip where for his reasons, no matter what it was, he stepped away from battle rap. He's come back, and although he does rebuttal, the energy's a little bit there when guys with legacy or doing it at the highest level. We're talking about they're taking rebuttaling but using it to propel themselves to like a top 5 battler in the world. Well, I think Trez is great, and he's had great runs. I don't know if he's ever been in those conversations, and while his rebuttaling is great, like we said with we just had clips at 4, everyone's rebuttaling is great up here. So how do you use the rebuttaling to separate yourself? Where are these moments coming versus who? Some of those things you have to use to separate. So very similar to like we said with the other list. Someone might have Chef Trez a step or 2 higher. Not even mad at it, to be honest with you. But I think number 3 is still a very respectable spot, and that's the spot that we went with for him.
Yeah. And now at number 2, the runner-up. The thing about this is that if you want to argue that early on in his career, there were segments of like when he freestyled, it didn't make sense or it didn't work for the most part, you can use that as critique. But there are other segments where he freestyles for a full round fluently with fluidity and beat people. The person that we're talking about is another legend, DNA. I feel like when you think of like those URL like mainstays that were freestylers, the first thing people you think of is Charlie Clips DNA. Like they're like kind of synonymous with one another.
1A, 1B.
Exactly. And the reason why we have him up so high is because, like I said earlier, like this man can go a full round, 3 minutes freestyling and land. And then like almost to the point where it seems like it's coming off his written. You know what I'm saying? Like we talked about off camera about his rounds against Ill Will. I mean, I know his first round is crazy, but he literally beat Ill Will second and third off of like freestyles, rebuttals, and stuff like that. Prez did the same thing. He just battled Hollow, another person that's on the list or whatever, and kind of went crazy with the freestyling. You know what I'm saying? Against him. And then if you even if you want to be playful, Clips low key battled on KOTD in the basement, and it wasn't a real battle. It's like he kind of showcased that like even in a playful manner, like he's still one of the best freestylers. Pat Stay, another
the Marvin Gaye bar versus Clips when they did that. It's a good little gem if y'all want to check that out, man. Some cool little freestyling.
Yeah, but he's also, battle tested when it comes to going against other freestylers, rebuttals. Him and Sharon, really good battle. They had like a little back and forth freestyling. Him and before A-Ward became like that, mega freestyle or whatever, he took on A-Ward, exhibited a little bit of Big Cannon. Oh my God. Not only was his writtens really good against Big Cannon, but he got into a freestyle bag that was kind of crazy against Big Cannon. Another well-known, freestyle rebuttaler figure in the battle rap. But yeah, man, he's had mega moments in freestyling. The rookie mistake against Twerk, and it was split second. Like he was rapping. Twerk said Black Mamba. And he said, okay. Then he goes into a whole little like rapid flow to get to like the deactivate his voice. Now he O-Red. Like that was crazy. Or even
versus Ill Will, I believe it was his second versus Ill Will we talked about off camera is a fully freestyled round. And now we're talking about fully freestyled rounds or rebuttal haymaker defining wins you the round moments on Summer Madness, on Gnome. And that is definitely one of those separators that we speak about where, pretty consistent. We talked about earlier in his career, he might have let the machete spray. Some of us haven't forgiven him. You know what I'm saying? I forgave him. He's given us a lot of moments since then. But just even to this day, still an extreme rebuttaler. But I actually on my channel do a little series called Golden Years where I cover some of the best years in battle rap, some guys' primes. And I did just cover DNA's 2014. And I think that gave me a lot more appreciation again for his rebuttaling versus Prez Mafia. The separator of that battle was Freestyles versus Calico. Probably would have won either way, but the separator of that battle, really all those great moments of Freestyles. And versus Ill Will, his entire second round in one of the biggest body bags in Gnome history is a fully freestyled round that has the efficient haymakers and landing rate of a regular, well-written, prepped round.
Right.
Incredible. There's a reason that DNA, honestly, when it comes to freestyling, that DNA probably might be the first name that comes to people's mind most of the time, so it definitely has to be up here. I could see him no lower than 2. And once again, common theme with this list, he could be at 1. Yep. And it would be hard to argue. The guy that we haven't won, you know what I'm saying? You guys might have deduced by now, we'll go into in a second. Right. We have our arguments, but with DNA, while there is some freestyles that miss, like we talk about, it's some of the ones we make fun of, he's got thousands and thousands and thousands of freestyles that we can quote, and thousands of them are probably fire. So, shout out to DNA, number 2, legend, and he needed to be on this list.
Absolutely. Well, that was our runner-up, and now we're about to take a small intermission to do some highlights for each one that made the list. And when we come back, we will announce number 1, which you guys probably already know who number 1 is, but we're going to do it anyway. So watch this clip really quick, and we'll be right back.
Well, just make sure your heart's numb. Dressed in all black, strapped with hollow points and a large gun. The reason you need hollows, your victim might have a vest on when you lost one. So really think about it. I flip yours, because you need me to get the job done.
Down. Well, hit bugs up. Maybe some niggas from the boogie down. Cause my Queens niggas keep it thorough. You know crooks around. So we write about that wheelchair, cause that's the only way I get pushed around. I'm blowing shit away. Nigga, diss me for having a good heart. I'll show your good heart when I click and spray, cause these hollows like giving back in a different way.
still fuck him. Now, see, you pulling her, and all that's gonna do is make this tech spark hit your stomach. Now, both of y'all can share those stretch marks. In a rap with Jordan. Everybody in here know that my rap's important, but you wanna slow it down 3 times like smack important. I'll smack your gun and step on the barrel like I'm Captain Morgan. You still talking? I know you personally. You used to be on my beef. So you smiling behind that mask because you don't want to show us your teeth. And that's the same place that I ski.
Oh, I said he said it was well, I mean, don't none of y'all niggas pop those K's. I'm strapped in. It's like twerk. The wrong stare get you dropped on stage. That first shit, some Psych-I-Lied Charlie Clip shit. It was my biggest mistake. But you said something about hair on food, that let y'all know, boom, I leave your wig on the plate, nigga. Like fuck chest, nigga, your buddy's getting killed. I let it sting for the green, then leave fettuccine over chest. The chef got clumsy with the meal, nigga.
See, I still might. Move back, what are you doing? Getting in my face, trying to go crazy, trying to fuck me up when it's dead time. When Drake's here in front of the battle, but you ain't gonna make none of his headlines. It's gonna look like OKC when that D's spitting, cause you won't be like Kevin Durant in the playoffs. Y'all gonna see a PG missing. Bye-bye! Oh, you gonna say my bars right now? You talking through my rounds, this nigga so dead. Futuristic gunning in whole lead. One bullet to deactivate his voice, now we on rag. Nigga, don't play. Stop talking when I rap, nigga. Don't do that. I'm here, nigga.
And we are back to announce number 1, the number 1 freestyler / rebuttaler in the game, or number 1 person in rebuttals, because I don't even think rebuttaler is a word, but nonetheless,
freestyler, whatever.
right. But we make up words in battle rap, so it's whatever. At number 1, we have A Ward. At number 1, is this too early? You know, like, are we crowning him too early? I don't think so. A lot of people may say we are, but considering how great he's been at freestyling and rebuttaling in the past, if you want to say a 4 or 5 year stretch, it's unprecedented. Like, it's really unprecedented. I feel like his landing rate is super efficient. He's very fluid and fluent when it comes to rebuttaling and freestyling. And on top of that, the haymakers, man. The haymakers that he's able to land with his freestyling. Like Clay Moore on More Clay against Ill Will, and into the Deshaun Watson joint that he had in the second round against Romnitty. Haymakers, game changer, something. This for all the naysayers. Like, just immediate, straight to the points. Like, he has the long, drawn out one where he does a literal 4-bar setup into a haymaker freestyling. There's like elongated ones. There's shorter ones where he can like freestyle like mid round, end round, top of the round. Like, he's just amazing, man. His rebuttal game is indeed crazy. And on top of that, it's also one of those things where like he's so good at it that it comes off as a written. Like, it really comes off as
setups. I mean, you want to talk about creating a setup,
right,
for rebuttal. I don't think there's anyone that has more like consistently detailed. Like, it's like he just jotted a 16 in his mind while the other guy was rapping, which is just, like we talked about, unprecedented how he can do that. Consistent basis. I mean, his landing rate, it's almost like he's good for a haymaker, which it's like the way I view rebuttaling is that at the very least, if it's not multiple, if you can give yourself a haymaker head start before you hit your writtens, I mean, that is a very good way to win battles, which he does on a frequent basis. And the other thing is that I think he rebuttals so well that there's generally people saying, like, trying to critique him, saying his rebuttals are better than his writtens. And that's like, first of all, A Ward has amazing writtens. A Ward is a very good writer, and he's very good at multiple aspects of battle rap, angling, barless rapping purely. But the fact that his rebuttals are that good that it makes like the rest of the stuff which he's good at look bad, that's just how good of a rebuttal
Right,
he is. You know, like
right.
people will predict the A-Ward battle, and like you should predict the battle, cover all the approaches, stuff like that. You'll people just talk about rebuttals. Oh, it's the rebuttals, it's rebuttals. It's like it's a hyper-focused thing with him, and his name is becoming like synonymous with rebuttaling. He is becoming almost like the face of rebuttaling in a way that a few of these guys have. Like we said, DNA, Chef Trez for a period in time around 2017, even Clips with some his iconic moments. But what A-Ward's doing right now, I think, is when we talk about the game evolving, just like in other sports, you know, people are jumping as high as they ever have in basketball, man. People are running as fast as they ever have in football. And now when we get to battle rap with the way that wordplay and rebuttaling is evolving, you got a guy like A-Ward that's doing, 16 bar rebuttals, or he's doing 4 rebuttals, and they're all intertwined together. Just an incredible talent. If people think we're over projecting little, have no problem with that. But to me, what he's doing at this level, I don't really know if I've seen people do it this in terms of a layered rebuttal, like an actual complex scheme or something of that nature. I haven't seen a guy put together something this complex on the spot. And that's why I'm cool with saying, even at this early, before he may even hit his real prime, I think A-Ward is the greatest rebuttaler in battle rap history.
I said my rebuttal game crazy. Hey. You know it's clear. It's not Sub-Zero. You finna know the score, peon. Get over here. Y'all rock with it, right? And I brought a coffin. Other words, a box with a fight. I lean A-Ward like the Heisman Trophy. You spent time in Bama, A's on his helmet, and the young guy got it tonight. Let's go. Oh, wait. Last week I battled, next week I battle. Feel like I'm on a tour date. Tomorrow, Easter, that's the Lord's Day. This finna be a Curry, 30. I reverse punches. Wait, you're a Claymore? I'm Achilles. I'm more clay. I'm not. Said my life something you know nothing about. All them gun bars I don't be dumping out. In the first round, you said you got an award for this. You mentioned smack, then my future baby mama. Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
They gonna have to go on a mission to save you. It's game data, K-Aimer. You can't keep it real yourself.
Game data, K-Aimer, Haymaker. This horse finna eat for all the naysayers.
But that was our episode for top 5 rebuttalers or freestylers. There's no such thing as rebuttalers. I gotta stop doing that. Top 5 freestylers in battle rap for the Rappers Pentagon. In the next episode we are doing to cap off the entire Rappers Pentagon Gauntlet series is top 5 all around. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys soon.